Howdy, Possum Patty here, and I do have my October journal that is almost finished but not complete yet, and it is very chunky, but I want to put a few more things in here. I did a little bit of work on this last night and this morning, not much, just a little tiny bit, and I'm going to sit down and do a little more journaling. So why don't you come on along? And where's little Titi, you may be asking? And little Titi's all wrapped up in this blanket on the couch, staying all nice and snug. I said her name. I saw the blanket move a little bit, so I'm not going to say her name anymore. She may come out and bother me once I sit down and start journaling. Well, you know what? I wanted to do some more play in my new trashy, but I put it aside. That means I threw it down on the floor. To do some more work in my October journal. I got a few more pages to do. And the last time I opened this up, we had done the adventure with Flat Stanley at the Fairy Village, Twinkle Point Amusement Park for the wee fairy folk. And I had come back at the end of the last video and added this piece over here because I just thought this spread needed something. And I realized that I cut off this little fairy over here. So I did have an extra brochure, which is now in, you know, a lot of little pieces everywhere. And so I cut that guy out. And then I'm thinking, there were some words up there, and I might have mentioned this. I was thinking of putting something up there. Well, I hadn't used this fairy paper that I had pulled out. So I said, well, let me continue this blue right across the page. But when I did that, I covered up this little guy. So I also cut him out of the extra brochure I had and put him there. And then there were two more fairies. One I put up here between the blue and the map. I'll bring this up a little closer so you can see. And the other one is down at the bottom of the page in that little blank space. And I think I had mentioned that too. So now I'm loving this part. And the inside I had finished. I haven't put anything else in here. But you know, a journal never has to be done. If I think of something or something pops up, I can always add it later. Now on the back, I said I was going to do something with this page, which was the last page in the first signature. And I had an idea, because I want to journal about some witch hazel. And with the word witch, I figured it has to go in this journal, right? And I did have this Harry Potter material. I think I got this at Walmart, that I used on the inside cover of this journal. So I was thinking, well, I could rip a strip of this and put it up here and put it down there and then put something in the middle. It was just this black creepy cloth in the middle. So I did rip a piece of this, and then I went digging in the bag to look for a strip of paper to sew it onto. And I found this strip that said Dia de los Muertos. And I'm like, oh, you know what? That is from this paper pack. And I hadn't done a Dia de los Muertos page this year. Now, I did one last year. I did a little altar with my aunt and uncle, who had both passed. Here it is. It's next to the TARDIS page. And this came out really pretty. I die cut these flowers, and there's a lot of symbolism in here that goes along with the Mexican holiday, like the marigolds and the monarch butterfly. They believe the souls of the dearly departed return on the wings of the monarch butterflies. And then This paper underneath the picture has real marigold petals on it, and this little altar came with the pack of Day of the Dead paper, and then I paper cut some marigolds down there with some bling. So this was my little altar for last year. So I know this doesn't look like an altar, but I made it into one. So I just put down the Dia de los Muertos strip here. I cut it in half, put it at the top and the bottom, and this is from the same paper pack, so all the colors go, and even the orange paper underneath is part of that pack. And I put a picture of my departed papa, and this is baby Possum when he was a baby. He's not quite 2 years old in that picture. And we had flown to Doniphan, Missouri for my grandmother's funeral. And yeah, I don't have too many pictures of my father with him because my father wasn't around that much. But this is one of the very few pictures of the two of them, so that picture is very special to me. So I decided to put it on this page. And I took another piece of paper from this paper pack. It's an old Michael's paper pack like last year or the year before. And just put Jesse and his grandpa, well, Uncle Don's house, Doniphan, Missouri, 1982. So I have my Day of the Dead picture in there. Oh, and before I go any further, because now that the first signature is finished, remember I was working on my owl page. Well, I had put this orange button there and the blue button there, and I loved the way it looked. But look how thick this orange button is, excuse me. And, you know, I'm putting more and more in here, but trying to reduce things at the same time. So I cut that off, and I put a puffy sticker from that pack that was just here on the table. Here it is. These really cute little woodland creatures. And that was sitting right there on the camera stand, so that's why it got used. And the owl is from that same pack. The owl was there because I'm talking about the barred owls here. So I put the mushroom with the little snail over where that orange button had been sewn on. And then I figured I needed something else to kind of balance it out a little bit, so I put a little flower down there. So even though these are puffy stickers, it is way thinner than this button. Okay, I hear a cat that wants to get in or out. I'll be right back. Well, I guess TT has finished her nap, and now she just wants to be a pest and go in and out, in and out. So this is the end, is the other side of this, which I really layered up with this wooden wicked and wooden hat, and my sister's pictures as a witch, and that little mesh, everything. I did cut some of the creepy cloth off to thin it down a little bit, and I had already folded the doily part over on that side like that. So now the first signature is complete. Yay! Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, this had been finished, but I started working on this page. Well, of course, now I had this piece of ripped material that I did not use on this page. I'm loving how this page came out. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can use it on this page. So I took some of this paper, which had some scraps, and it's the same paper that's behind the doily over here. And I cut a strip, and I sewed it to there. I tried to make a little bit of a ruffle, but, you know, oh, here comes TT. Sorry. TT, come here. Come here. Come here. She was trying to get in my lap, and she just fell head over heels right off my lap. I don't like her to do that because she is going to be, how old are you? 15 years old or 16 years old. Yeah, I don't like her falling so much. So I kind of sewed that on there, tried to make it a little wiggly and not very even, so it's kind of, you know, a little haphazard there. And this pattern is from one of the Harry Potter stories, and it symbolizes a cloak of invisibility and a ring and a wand, and yeah. So it goes along with, did I use that? You know what? I didn't use that at all, did I? Well, I'm glad I got that in here because I did buy it for this journal. So I think I'm going to use some more of that material before this is done. So this pocket was here. I had sewed it to this, excuse me. This pocket was here. I had glued it to the page underneath. So I glued this strip that I had sewn this ruffle on there. But I decided to also glue a piece on the back to back, and extend this page out a little bit so that there was room for the ruffle. I didn't want it too close to the pocket because it might make things hard to put in and out of the pocket. And I think, you know, even though it's from a different paper, these are 3 different paper packs. That's the Day of the Dead. This one is a different paper pack, and this one's a different paper pack. But it does match this page over here. So, you know, it's following along. It's an element that was carried over to here and now carried over to here. We've got this little orange back there, which kind of gets carried over to here. This is the skull paper, which is behind here. So, you know, and this is from the same pack also. This is from a book. I know this is pretty scary. Some people don't like this, but, you know, that's okay. I did find a card. This is a reproduction of a vintage Halloween illustration. And it fit perfectly into this little pocket here. And I just love, and this wasn't planned, this just happened this way, how the little thumb hole there is right by the pumpkin man's face. I was like, okay, that's perfect. So now I can journal on the back of this and put it in here, and another page will be done. So, doesn't have to really go with anything. And then I have a few more pages. I was thinking about, where's the other page? Okay, there was a page here, these 2 pages. I don't know if I'm going to put anything on these 2 pages. This, I'm definitely going to leave like this. This page, I was going to put something here, and maybe if I do, I might just put a flat picture on here with some journaling. But I do like this vintage page from 1938. I know it's a little spooky. And the journal is super chunky as it is, so I don't feel the need to add too much more. But put something on that page and this page, and this is ready for a journaling card right here because I moved this from another page. And then basically that's it. The other side of that pumpkin, wherever that is, too, has to get done here. And this is already done. This is a collage I did. So, yeah, there's not that much more done. So, you know, it's highly likely that I can finish up another journal. You know, and maybe, you know, last year was the year of starting journals. This almost feels like the year of finishing journals. Okay, now because I have this Harry Potter ruffle, and this is really pretty. I don't know why I haven't used that. I like that black with the gold. I could put that on here, on the back. Or I was thinking about putting some of these characters on there. Just cut this and back this up. And then Do I have room to put a picture? Oh, you know what? I have to print out the witch hazel picture. Stand by. Well, I went to print out the picture of the witch hazel. Witch hazel is a small tree, large shrub. And there are a few people who are still asking me questions about my Canon Mini Ivy. There goes my bird clock. And you buy the paper in a little box, and there are 5 packs with 10 pages, 10 sheets in each pack. It's all wrapped up with aluminum. Okay, and it's called Zinc, Z-I-N-K, paper, Z for zero, ink for ink, zero ink. That means you don't have to put any ink in the printer itself. See, I got a message on my phone that says, no paper. I'm like, okay. Let me show you how easy it is. I just take my scissors and open it up. Try not to touch the paper. Okay, so this, you just slide the top, pops right open. Take out the paper, hold it on the edges like that. Put the blue, this is a calibration card, just put that down first. Like that. This goes back on there. Done. You can usually find 50 sheets for about, I don't know, $24, so it comes out to like 50 cents a picture, which may be a little bit more expensive than doing it some other ways, but you're paying for the convenience of not having to put any ink in there. So I'm going to click OK, and now I'm going to click that little printer icon. Okay, I just waited a little too long there talking to you, so it went off, so I pushed the on button. And then as soon as that little symbol in the corner changes color to show me that they're connected, they connect through Bluetooth, and it should connect pretty quickly. See, it turned pink. I'm going to hit that now. And the first thing that's going to come out is going to be the blue calibration card and then the picture. So while that's working, I went ahead into my North American Wildlife book that I've been, this is a Reader's Digest, an old book. I cut out a lot of pictures of the birds, but it also has plants and flowers and trees and insects and mushrooms, a bunch of other things. So I cut out the picture of the witch hazel. And this is, our witch hazel is blooming now. There's another one that blooms a little bit later, January, February. But we have the fall blooming one. And it's not very big yet. We just planted it a year or two ago. It hasn't grown very much yet. And it just has these wild, wiggly, long-petaled yellow flowers. They're very fun to see this time of year because, you know, usually trees don't bloom, you know, in November. And it's got some really cool little capsules that the fruit or the seeds develop in there, and then they split open and the seeds come out. What's interested, all right, the calibration card is out. But the picture didn't come out. So let's try it again. I wonder if it needs to get charged. Because it went off pretty quick. It's probably going to have to get charged up because I printed a lot of pictures. Usually that little light in the back turns red when it needs to get charged. Yeah, see, it says right there, no battery. All right, I'm going to put it down on the floor. I should have been charging it up, but I didn't. So it comes with a little cord, and I have a power strip on the floor. So you just plug in the charger, and I'll give it a minute, and only needs to be plugged in. Sorry, down on the floor. It only needs to be plugged in for a couple of seconds before you can go ahead and print something. Yeah, so we have this one small witch hazel in the back, which we planted, wasn't here on the property, but it is a native plant. And besides having blooms at this time of year, in the summertime, what's interesting about it is the leaf. It is asymmetrical. So one side of the leaf is attached to the center part of the leaf, the stem there, a little bit lower than the other side. So you don't always see that, do you? When you're looking at your leaves, they seem to be evenly attached at the bottom. But you can see there how one side is a little bit lower, which makes them fun to identify. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bend down and turn that on again. And now you can't watch because it's down on the floor. But as soon as that changes color, sometimes my internet is slow, but there it goes, change color. So, yes, my internet is slow some days with the Bluetooth. All right, so now I don't know if I'm going to use this material on here because now I want to put this on here too. Although I could, what I was thinking of was putting, because it's Witch Hazel and Hermione in Harry Potter is a witch. So I wanted to get her on there. So maybe it's important to get her, but not worry about the boys. I can cover them up. Sorry, fellas. So what I'm thinking of is trimming this down and then gluing it and maybe stitching around the edge and putting this little blip on here about the Witch Hazel and the picture that I took from the backyard, which has just come out of the printer. Oops. And here it is. Aren't those fun? And it was, I believe, wet this day. Yeah, they look a little wet. But it's got this really fun flowers in November. So, and they're like a pale yellow. So then I can arrange these on there. I don't know, maybe I can put a little, just click OK. Pages have printed. Go back, go back. I'm going to discard my changes because I had brightened it up a little bit. Okay, back to work. You know, we have to do these things. Okay, so, I'm going to, see, cut Hermione off here just above her head. Now, I did use this fabric in the journal. It's on the back page right there. So we want Hermione on there. Are you a Harry Potter fan? Are your children or grandchildren Harry Potter fans? Okay. Yes, I read all the books and I watched all the movies. I think I'm going to let it hang over the edge of the card just a little bit. Save that little piece for something. I want to watch it all again because we had just watched Fantastic Beast, and that got me in the mood to like maybe watch this one again. See, I'm just going to have a little bit of it hanging over, and then I'll like pull the strings and make it fringe a little bit. Now, I know you're not doing like the same exact journaling that I'm doing, but I hope that by watching me do with what I have on hand, and of course what I buy, all my thrifty hauls for junk journaling, you know, how you can put different things together for your own journaling. So if you've got, you know, ephemera and material and stickers, things like that. Oh, speaking of Fantastic Beasts, what do you want, TT? I found this. I think we got this somewhere. Oh, I think at the doctor's office. And there is a bit of Harry Potter in here. And you know what? I have not been using it at all in this Harry Potter journal. And there is, oh, look at this. I even forgot what was in here. Oh my, I'm going to have to look through this. I just dug this out. I'm like, oh, I forgot all about this. And maybe in my last couple of pages, let's see, here's the Fantastic Beast. I can cut out a few of these things. Here's the dragons. J.K. Rowling. Oh, look at the wands and the candles in the background. Oh, there's the Golden Girls. There's the Golden Girls. Yeah, there's other things in here besides Harry Potter because it's an entertainment magazine. But, yeah, maybe I can use that. So let me get a paper to glue on. I have to get a new paper pretty soon. This one's getting kind of raggedy. I use a piece of paper for as long as I can. And these little cards, I don't know, they're like gift cards or just the fake kind of cards, you know, they send you in the mail for Dish and different things. AARP. I use these for my glue spreaders. And then when the edge gets thick with glue, I just peel it off like that. Okay, I'm going to put down material. And I found that the Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength, even though a little bit more expensive than some of the other glue sticks, does a really, really nice job with material. And because I'm gluing it down, I never have to iron my material, because it's just kind of press it onto the glue stick and it goes pretty flat. But I am going to put a little bit of tacky glue around the edge. I am not using the stuff that is like Fabri-Tac at all. Whoops. And I will spread this tacky glue around a little bit so that it doesn't clump up under the material. So make that kind of, spread that out to the edge. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to take that out of the way. And see if I can do this. Sometimes it's easier to do it this way, is it? Because I can see all around a little bit better, so I can line it up. I want just a little bit of edge sticking out. That looks about right. And then just press it on this side. And it comes out nice and flat. like that. Okay, now I was thinking of taking it to the machine. And, oh, I forgot to mention the ruffle that I did. The cat's sitting on my journal. Okay, the ruffle that I did. May have known when I was, that yesterday when I was working on that coffee cake new junk journal. Yeah, it kind of jammed up my machine a little bit. And I had to finish sewing that by hand. So before I came on camera, I went over and I tried sewing this ruffle, and it seemed to come out fine. So I think the sewing machine is fine for all those. Thank you who are asking me about the sewing machine. I think it's good. I think the sewing machine is good. So I'm going to take it over there now and give it another go and just sew around the edge of this. Okay, I sewed around. It looks like maybe the tension might be a little bit loose, but I can tighten that up. But it seems to be okay, fingers crossed. I have one more little piece of this. That's what it looks like on that side. I use purple only because purple is what was in the machine. I don't always change thread colors. Sorry, Harry and Ron Weasley. I'm going to cover up your face. I tend to use what's in there. Not always, but I tend to. I'm kind of just add this as an extra element. Put the witch hazel next to Hermione. Sort of like this, I believe. So by kind of covering that all up, attention is drawn to her face, and she is the witch. So for Witch Hazel. She's my witch for Witch Hazel. I looked and see when I took that photograph, easy for me to say, and it was October 25th when it was freshly blooming. I haven't gone back there this week to see if it's still blooming. Oh, but Mr. Possum said to me, he said, I told you, did you see that big tree that came down in your rain garden? I was like, no, I didn't see that. He said, look out the window, look out the window. And, yeah, this, like, big around tree came down. I said, well, I'm going to go take a picture of it. So I went out. I could play that little bit for you while I am gluing these pieces down. Here is what Mr. Possum was warning me about. Look at this huge bit of tree that came down. It's pretty, wow. Mamma mia, that's pretty heavy. I'll put my foot there. You can see that it is wider than my foot. Pretty good sized tree. Came down off of way up there, the top of that tree to the left. Came down. The one next to it, that's the one that came down on the picnic area the other day. And now this one has fallen across my rain garden. And if we come over here, we have a casualty. The little frog chair fell over. I don't think it's busted. No, it's okay. These are pieces of a fossil. They fell apart. And it continues over here. and way out to there. So it was pretty big. You can see the little branches are all around. And luckily, Mr. Namaste Frog did not get damaged. But the branches are over here too. So I started to walk away after I made that little video. And Mr. Possum came out and he said, "Where are you going?" I said, I'm all done with the video." He said, "Well, don't go too far." I said, "Why?" He's like, I may need you to help me move move that big branch." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I don't know if I could do that," but I did help him a little bit. Pick up one end. And then he said I wasn't following directions because I didn't drop it when he said drop it. But we got it cleaned up pretty much. I got my little frog chair set back up. Get the big branch moved. This branch, it was like half a tree trunk. Okay, well now this witch hazel bloom, the way it's all, you know, kind of wavy and all like that, reminds me of Hermione's hair. Look at that. Isn't that fun? If you remember, Hermione's hair was always just kind of thick and bushy. She always had problems with it, keeping it combed. Well, there's my nature journaling, my really fun witch hazel page on my retro Halloween card. So let me get the journal back. Oh, TT's gone back to her blanket. And there we have it. Witch hazel. And it's going to be a tight fit because I put that material on there. Okay, well, this is a lot tighter now that the material is on there, but I think that paper may stretch a little bit. I poked my ruler in there. So this is a little trick. You have to be very careful that you don't rip the paper, but if you have a ruler with a thinner edge on one side, you can put it in there and very carefully stretch out the pocket just a little bit. Now you don't want to do it so much that you're ripping the paper. You're just sort of stretching it out a little bit. So if you do this, be very careful. Very, very careful. And I stretched it out just enough to get my witch hazel card in there. Like that. So that was pretty good today. I've got this page done. And I finished this page. Well, I did it. I kind of modified it a little bit. Got the picture put on there. And I played with this page a little bit. So, there you go. 2 new pages done. So 2 new pages done. So I've got a few more to go. And then it will be finished. And I will pull out another journal to work in. So thanks for coming along today, and I'd just like to wish everybody happy junk journaling. Bye-bye.